Tried to film this video like 5 times, but every time I kept filming it, the mic kept cutting out or it wouldn't load or whatever. But it starts off, I was from 14 to like 18 years old. I was always trapped in the house. I would never really have freedom to do much. I would never be able to be outside and go with my friends anywhere for longer than like 3 hours. And I just really didn't have like the trust in my parents, truthfully. And they didn't really trust me to do a lot, but I think a lot of that was just to like do it. I was a kid, you know, like I was like from like 1st to like 5th grade, I was always doing dumb stuff. I was always doing stuff that like nobody else, like the dumbest shit nobody else would do. And like it's crazy though, because I was always the softest kid, but I was doing the most dumb things. Like I'd go jump over chairs at recess. I'd like go act like I was like literally the class clown, but except like super skinny. From ages like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I was always being like bullied. People always looked at me as like some type of weirdo. People always had some like type of thing against me. And at the end of the day, it kind of like reflected back on me because I didn't really like myself at the time either. And you know, they say what you are, what you attract, right? Or you attract what you are. And at the time, I thought that was genuinely true because I was skinny. I was not confident. I didn't have no one. I barely had friends. Only had a couple of friends, but I had nobody that really liked me for me, except like the 1-2 people that I talked to every single day. And as you get older, it gets like that too. But I was really lonely to the point where like I'd like literally beg for friends. I would literally go up to people and be like, hey, like you want to be friends? Hey, like my mom would go try and find me friends at school. And I just didn't really have confidence because like I wanted people to accept me for who I am. And this is something that I struggled with because like I thought I was okay with who I was at the time. I didn't understand how to grow, what man I was gonna become, how I was actually gonna go about the life that I wanted to live. But I just knew that I had potential, but like I didn't know how to actually unlock it. I didn't know how to like move and take action steps towards that. And I just thought the man I was at that moment in time in high school, I thought that's what I was gonna be forever. And I was mad that people didn't like me. I was mad that I didn't get the same love that I always showed people back. But at the end of the day, it's like you gotta love yourself before you love anyone else. And I think that's a very true statement because when you start loving yourself extremely, a lot of people start to gravitate towards you. I was like 18, I graduated high school from like 18 to like 19, 20. I was in college, so for about 3 years. And those honestly were some of like the worst years of my life, truthfully. I was depressed in high school. I was trying to find myself. I was trying to find my purpose. I wanted to know who I exactly was, and I kept trying to find that through like things like drugs, things like just eating around. I was trying to find who I truly was, but I didn't journal. I didn't do it through good habits. I kept doing it through like shitty addictions. And part of the reasons why I was like a college kid for so long is because I never really had freedom. I never really had the freedom to go outside and just go be outside for hours all night. I never could really spend the night at places. I never really had like friends like the way I did in college. And college grew me a lot as man. It made me tough as shit because the things you have to like genuinely go through and the things that you don't like that you still have to go through, which raised like my discipline, like my consistency a lot. But I think as a man, college didn't do much for me because it doesn't teach you real world experiences. It's kind of like the next level of high school, but like at the same time, there was just something there that it wasn't gonna let me find my purpose. It was like me going into those classes, doing online classes, going into class, them teaching me about it wasn't gonna allow me to find my true self, which is why I skipped class in college so much. In high school, I felt obligated to go because I have strict parents. And like, you know how you guys have parents that are maybe on your ass a lot, or you guys have parents that are like very strict with you, but you don't really have like no outlet to like go to, or they don't really let you leave the house much. That's kind of how I was. But when I graduated, it all changed, and I knew I needed some type of freedom. I knew I needed somewhere to take my problems, somewhere to take all the pain. And at the time, it was like instant pleasures because I wasn't really able to access instant pleasure. I wasn't really able to do what I wanted to do. I didn't get a car till after I graduated, and I wasn't really able to like explore the world and like kind of see life for what it is, kind of like how I do now. It was some of the worst years of my life because I felt like I was in a cycle with everybody I came across because everyone always felt like they could bully me. Everyone always felt like they had something above me, and I didn't have a strong presence. I was skinny, I wasn't really confident, and I I didn't know myself. So if you don't know yourself, others aren't gonna know you. But like, if you don't do anything right, people are gonna assume that you do things wrong, and that's just kind of how it is in this world. And people will overlook you and whatnot. But once I got tired of that shit, though. I'm not gonna lie, I got tired of that shit, which caused me to put all the attention into myself. Because my whole life, I was always giving other people attention, and I thought other people would fix my problems for me. When in reality, they could guide me, they could give me advice, but they couldn't take me to point A to point B. I had to do that for myself. And it started in 2023, third year of college, right? College athlete, redshirted, staying at school, just working in the gym, working out every day, just running, just all that shit. Yeah, I was just grinding. I was just, at that time, I felt like I was working on myself so much to the point I started to see like true character development. I started to see like who I could truly become. But then like soon as I got back home, people are telling you what to do and they're not where you want to be in life, it's hard to listen to them. And that's kind of how I was back in, like, especially in college, because everyone kept telling me to do certain things, but nobody was where I wanted to be. And I only listened to people that was where I wanted to be, but I had to even get around those people. And none of the people I was around, especially my parents, because they thought they knew the best for me. They thought staying in school was the best for me, but I knew I was just staying at a low vibration because everyone else in school just parties, they drink, they just make friends, and they're just cool with making friends, and they cheat on all their schoolwork. And I'm just like, so like, why are you going thousands and thousands of dollars in debt just to get a social experience? And it didn't make sense to me, but I realized that a lot of kids, they don't know what they're about to do next. So they just enjoy the moment hoping that it's gonna work out. And I knew I didn't wanna be like that. I knew I didn't wanna put my future in vanity, enjoying every single day like it was gonna be my last day on earth, because I knew I have more days on earth, but I knew I had to make something of my future. I knew I couldn't just sit here and enjoy the present moment, because when you enjoy the present moment, when you enjoy the instant pleasures that don't benefit you long term, what's gonna happen long term? Yeah, so I knew I had to make a change. So that's especially why, like 2023, 2024, I was in college, but I was like trying to learn and apply skills. I was fixing my mindset through courses. I was reading books. I was actually applying a lot of those books. So, and the way you apply books is that you journal out those habits that you want instilled in yourself, and you say I will in your journal. So in my journal back in around 2024, I was writing I will statements because I wanted certain habits like discipline, consistency. I wanted like an unbreakable mindset, and in order to do that, I had to journal myself out through those things. And I knew if I let bad things stop me, if I let hard times get me down, then my mindset would be broken, you know? So a lot of things. So around 2024 or the 2023 summer, I went home for the summertime from school, kind of like every college kid does. And I felt this sign of like I was in a loop, bro, because I kept going to school, coming back home, going to school, and I know the college kids that go off to school that are watching this, I know they feel like, or if you even went to college, you feel like you're stuck in like this type of loop. And that's how I felt like I was stuck in, because I was going year after year, but I wasn't learning jack shit that I could actually apply to my life and actually use. And so that 2024, my parents still made me go to college somehow, because I didn't really have the masculinity. I wasn't really man enough to step up and tell them that I didn't want to go to school, but what else was I gonna do? I didn't really have a certain plan for my life, so I kind of had to go. And while I was at school, because keep in mind, school was like the escape for me, because I hated being trapped in the house. And I was trapped in the house for about my first 18 years of my life. But after those 18 years, is when I finally felt freedom. But the only way I felt that freedom is if I went to college. And I know a lot of you guys feel like that too, because at home, you're not allowed to do much. You're around your hometown, it's boring. You only have a couple of friends, but after you chill with those couple of friends, you don't have nothing else to do. And that was probably one of the worst, because I was just hustling, but like I knew I was meant for more. And so my parents forced me back to go to college, right? And when I was in college, I noticed that all my close friends, they started the social media stuff. They called me like, hey, we're doing the social media stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. I can do that. Because I was already making videos. I was already trying to monetize something of myself, of the talents, of the skill set that I had, until I realized later down, the months down the road, around March, when I actually dropped out of college. Well, I got my associates, but I left college. I knew that I had to build myself up a value. And so around that time I was working in the gym, at the school gym. I was selling drugs. I was door dashing. I was doing a lot of shit between from that September to that March period. All this while I'm doing social media. So I'm posting, I'm streaming, I'm doing all this, and still while I'm still in school, and still while being a college athlete. So I'm always doing something 24/7, because since a kid, I always knew if somebody's doing better than you, they're just doing more than you. And it's just simple as that. It's not that they have any better skills, any better talents. They might, because they've been doing it longer, but at the end of the day, they're just doing more than you every single day. And that just brought me back. That brought me back to was like that. Every time I think of that statement, it brings me back to how I was never doing enough. I was never one to just do the most. And at the end of the day, I had to become one of those people that were doing a lot in order to become a lot. So I dropped out of school March 7th. So when I started doing fitness, that's when I started doing the social media stuff full time. And then from March to July is when I learned a lot about myself, because I knew if I could stay consistent, if I could stay disciplined and like be like tough as fuck through college and like all that shit, that bullshit that I had to go through, living in dorms with people that were like 10 feet apart, then I knew I could live in a living room with 2 other people that had their own rooms and still just grind every single day till I was able to get my own place. And that's successfully what I did. Because at the end of the day, like, you have to be around people. Those people I was around, though, you're gonna be you're gonna be around a lot of people that think that they have the same goals as you, but you don't get to know someone till 4 months, 3 months after like truly knowing them. And after truly knowing them, you kind of understand who they are and like their bad habits and like kind of why they participate in their bad habits. And so, end of July, beginning of August, I got my own crib. I officially started my lean bulk that day. And at the time, living by myself in August, it was all right, but I didn't hold myself to a standard, and that's what coaches are there for. Coaches are there to not only hold you to a standard, hold you accountable, but give you the information and implement it into you the right way so you can be successful. And at the time, I didn't really have that. I invested in myself a lot through certifications, courses, mentorships, but I didn't have a true coach, someone that was willing to work with me. And in August, I was just kind of just grinding it, just trying to just like figure out my way while doing the social media stuff. And it's a blessing. It was a blessing to be able to grind that, because it's a blessing to be able to grind that, because it taught me the true journey of struggle. It taught me the true, even though I knew it, even though I knew that you had to be patient with certain things all my life, but struggling and being patient are 2 different things. And honestly, the struggle makes you who you are, because at the end of the day, you can either struggle and be sad and just keep getting down and down on yourself, like I've seen so many people in my hometown, and just settle for what they get, or you force life by the hand. And you force life by the hand by simply going through those struggles, not going around them, not going under or over them. You go through the struggle, so that way you know the lesson from the struggle, you apply it to yourself, and now you actually are a better person because you learn from your losses. And that's how people grow. But it took me to realize that I had to move out and be by myself to understand that. Because I was living in a house and trapped in a house with 4 to 5 other people, and just like in a cluttered mind, in a cluttered house. Because at the end of the day, the people you live with, you share some of the same thoughts as them. You share some of the same things with them. And I didn't want to share with no one else. I didn't want to be with anyone else. I needed to be that was the first time in my life where I needed to be by myself. I experienced so much growth because I was able to put myself through trial and error, and I was able to learn from my errors. And I knew I had a lot to learn, especially just getting my first own apartment at 21. But I just feel like if I would have definitely did it earlier, I would have developed as a character. I would have developed so much more, because at the end of the day, it takes experiences to develop. That's why it's so important to try new things in life, because the more you experience, the more you can learn, the more you can try, the more you realize, the more you come to self-realizations, the more you come to conclusions with what you need to do. And if you don't come to those conclusions at all, and you just stay in the same repeated cycle of doing the exact same things every day and you never switch it up, then how are you supposed to know if something's good for you or not? How are you supposed to know if you're doing the right thing? How are you know like what's wrong and what's right? And I needed those experiences at a young age, which I love them to death, but they held me back from so many experiences. And at the end of the day, that's why I feel like my true character development did not start till I was 18, 19 years old when I graduated high school. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same way if you were stuck in the house, if you weren't allowed to do much. But I promise you, when you go and experience life and you understand what it is, you get so much more out of it. You get so much more connected with yourself, because it gives life meaning when you're able to go experience things that you haven't experienced before. It's a blessing trying something for the first time versus trying something for like the 20th time. And once you try something for the 20th time, you kind of know how to do it, the rights and wrongs, etc., etc. And yeah, from turned 21, got my own place from August to March. I grinded my ass off on social media. I grinded my ass off as far as trying to get more clients. Crazy, because in college, I was always being bullied. I was always being pushed around. Same in high school. I would never get anyone to like me until I realized I had to work on myself. And that's why I like helping people work on themselves so much and helping them build themselves up with value. Because it's lovely to see the transformation, because after they become the person who they're meant to be, or they actually tap into that true potential, it's amazing, because it's like seeing me and somebody else. And that's what I see in a lot of my clientele, because a lot of people are skinny. A lot of people aren't really confident in their physiques. A lot of people don't have the best mindset when it comes to being jacked. And me instilling that in them forces them to level up. And the standard that I hold on my clients to, it helps them achieve the goals that they would never thought they would achieve. I remember I used to struggle with this problem so much. I used to struggle being pushed around. I used to struggle being grabbed by the wrist. I used to struggle fitting into clothes. I used to struggle just actually being strong. I remember one time I got punched in the gut. I just went right down because I was so skinny. And I don't want anyone else to struggle through those problems. And that's why I like helping people level up and actually getting jacked. Is because once they actually have a taste of their true potential, they never want to go back. And I'm the exact same way, because I remember once I started to get a taste of who I could really become, it's like, why would I go back to being a loser? Why would I go back to being pushed around, bullied, unattractive? I always blamed everybody for everything. I always blamed people as to why I was in the situation I was in. I always blamed people as to why I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And at the time, it was partially true. But at the end of the day, you're in the situation you're in just because of you. And that's why I like helping people come to their realities of the potential they can actually tap into, but having them list out their actions, having them list out their habits to actually see where they're going wrong in life. And actually, because at the end of the day, it takes for you to eliminate the bad habits to incorporate the good ones. You can't just have the bad habits and the good ones, because you'll go to the bad habits subconsciously every time. But when you have good habits and replace the bad habits, and the bad habits are eliminated, they're far away, you can't really like access the bad habits anymore because the good ones are in place. Same with your mindset. You have to break your limiting beliefs. You have to believe that you can truly achieve anything in order to actually achieve anything. You have to be delusional, and delusional with yourself, delusional that you're the best in order to achieve those things. And of course, everyone has learning to do. Everyone has growing to do, but you actually have to believe that shit. And at the time, I didn't really have self-belief. That's exactly why I got this tattoo, because I needed to believe. I needed to ultimately think I could truly do anything. And with this mindset that I have now, that all of you guys can adopt, that all of you guys can get, I can literally achieve my wildest of dreams. I would never thought I would have been able to move out to Florida. I would never thought I would have been able to do what I'm doing now, because I'm extremely blessed. It gives you what you're prepared for. And if you keep leveling up, if you keep showing him that you can withstand these hard challenges, then he'll keep challenging you more and more and more. But it's the more disciplined, the more consistent, the more self-developed that you get through those struggles and those challenges. And that's what college, that's what all those years of struggling, that's what all those years of people just not liking me, that's what all those years of just staying in the same loop, that's what all those years of just not being confident in myself taught me. And that's why I teach the lessons that I teach to my clients, to the skinny people that I coach, because they can achieve anything too. They can be the most jacked. They can get any girl they want. They can go be the most confident and have the most unbreakable mindset where nobody can fuck with them at all. But it starts with your mindset. It starts with the beliefs that you have. And if you don't believe you can truly accomplish what you want to accomplish, if you don't truly believe you can do those things, if you don't truly believe you can go conquer the world, if you don't truly believe you can go to war every day and not stop fighting, if you don't believe you can carry the logs, carry the boats, if you don't believe, then how can you actually achieve it? And this is something that I had to tell myself over and over and over again in my journal. As a kid, bro, I didn't really have friends, bro. I didn't have nobody for me, bro. From ages 1 through 18, I had friends here and there that obviously helped me out down later in life, but I didn't have those things, bro. I didn't have freedom, bro. All I had was my family, but they just thought they knew what was best for me. And in reality, I knew what was best for me. And if you guys are struggling with the family issue, with somebody telling you what to do issue, just know that you know what's best for you, you and Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ will save your life, but if you talk to Jesus about your life situation, he will point you in the right direction. I promise you guys. Because I remember I was lost at one point, especially when I first moved out here. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what the fuck to do, but now I'm on the right path. I have direction with Jesus in my life, but without Jesus in my life, I would not be here in this day right now. I promise you guys I wouldn't. It pains me that I was a kid, that I had to go through these things of just being bullied, of just being a soft ass kid, of just being someone who I didn't really want to be. And I tried to keep stepping out of that identity, but it was just mental masturbation. And I know a lot of you guys struggle with this mental masturbation, this fantasy of who you could become, but you're at the end of the day, in reality, you're not that person. You're not the person that's disciplined, that's consistent, that's highly valuable like you want to be. But that doesn't mean you can't get there, though. That doesn't mean you can't take action steps towards achieving that goal. But how can you actually achieve that? Actually journaling, actually taking time to reflect onto yourself, actually listing out all your bad habits, your good habits, actually listing your daily wins, actually stacking up on the good habits, and actually building up your mindset and your physique and your training, so you can actually become someone of value, so you can actually become a great individual, so you can actually become one of God's warriors.